Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You know, there are more than 700,000 pitches in a Major League Baseball season. There's always another pitch, there's always another game, there's always another chance, except tonight. Tonight's completely different. Tonight is about nothing like the first 161 are about. Tonight is about game 162.
That one is driven deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
High fly ball belted left. Gone! And Guerrero's ground ball to the middle. That'll be gobbled up under the glove of Ray. The turn. Oh! That may be the one that puts the Red Sox into the postseason.
The 0-1. Grounded up the middle, off the glove of the pitcher, Myers. This is going to be an infield hit, and the Cubs score another one. You couldn't ask for a better start.
This was like a solar eclipse to have all of these teams at once on one night in one spot playing for these kinds of stakes.
And Ruiz blocks the plate beautifully.
There it goes. See ya.
Both wild card races tied up, both coming down for the final day.
It was an absolutely crazy, epic, surreal moment for all of us.
You think about all the things that came together on that day. You know, you took in the whole day and you just go, sheesh, really? Pretty cool.
2 leagues, 2 wild card ties, 6 months of baseball, and it comes down to one night. In the American League, who's left to pitch for the Red Sox? And what should Joe Girardi do with his Yankees against the Rays? In the National League, the Braves are sinking. And in Houston, are the Cardinals shorthanded again?
It just so happened that because of the way that the structure of the playoffs were, it ended up giving us this one day where there are a million moving pieces going all at the same time.
We have a tie between the Braves and the Cardinals to clinch a lone wild card playoff spot. Each team needs to win and have the other lose. Some crazy situations in the American League with Tampa Bay and Boston. Both teams need to win and have the other lose to get into the playoffs.
It always interested me that you can have a 162-game season and then come down to the last game. It's part of the beauty and nuance of baseball.
A perfect setup. Let's take a look now at how the Wild Card Wednesday came about.
It's time to play ball. Batter up, Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Well, Tampa Bay, I mean, there's no history, no tradition, no nothing. It's the worst ballpark in the big leagues. They're basically television programming for the retirement community in Florida.
Check swing on 3-0, grounded to the pitcher who throws wild past McGriff.
It was, you know, kind of embarrassing.
Wildly unsuccessful. I think the best way to sum them up is that in 2005, they won 70 games for the first time in their history and did a champagne toast to celebrate that. So we had to think about things differently.
Joe Madden was the perfect fit, you know, for Tampa Bay at that time, and making sure that everybody is comfortable in their own skin. You know, that's Joe's biggest thing. We didn't have a dress code, and he said, if you think you look sexy, then wear it.
He kind of came to the ballpark with the same mentality every day. Basically, anything was possible.
Ground ball to second. Rivera's got it. Rays are going to the World Series.
Andrew, he was really good about going out and acquiring guys that weren't big money guys, but, you know, somehow always made an impact.
In the air to right field, struck well. Back goes Kotsay towards the bullpen. Dan Johnson welcomes himself to the big leagues with the Rays and ties the game 4-4 in the ninth.
Me and Rocco Baldelli were standing in an elevator, and some of the Boston fans were in the elevator. One of the guys in the elevator goes, "Is that Dan Johnson?"
Dan Johnson.
Dan Johnson.
And he pointed at me, and then so Rocco obviously lost it. I lost it. And Rocco, he went and made T-shirts and had them all printed out for the team. And from that time on, it kind of stuck.
Gonzalez hits one in the air to left field.
Boston Herald had a front page proclaiming this team as the best team ever.
Through to right center field. This will get down. And the Red Sox in the 14th inning will walk off with a win.
For 4 months that summer, the Red Sox played the best baseball in the major leagues. I think there were 39 games over 500.
We were all kind of just riding the wave, and it was super successful.
But as September continued, I think our pitching got tired. Our bullpen was taxed.
Antino lines it down the right field line. It's a fair ball. Reimel's going to try and score. He will. Second blown save for Papelbon.
We just generally found ways to lose.
I thought, no way anybody catches the Red Sox.
Ground ball back to Johnson. He throws to first, and the ball game is over. The Baltimore Orioles come into Fenway Park, and they take 3 out of 4 games from the Red Sox.
And it was amazing how much it changed in 2 weeks.
3-2, the fly ball into left. Desmond Jennings there. The Rays are winners. And at the moment, the Rays are half game up in the wild card race. Again, the 3-2 delivery. Jones grounds it down to third. Big hop played by Lowry. Throw to first. And there is still a tie in the wild card. The wild card in the American League, dead even. 90 and 71, the Rays and the Red Sox.
I grew up a Braves fan and, loving Chipper and Glavine and Smoltzy and, Javi and everybody. I somehow made it to the big leagues. And then, of all the teams that get traded to Atlanta.
Swing and a high fly ball left center. Bird going back. It is out. A new Atlanta record for Dan Uggla.
The Braves were sort of a surprise story. They had Chipper Jones kind of making his last hurrah, and then they got these unexpected contributions from all of these gifted rookies. Freddie Freeman at first base, Craig Kimbrell coming out of the bullpen. They were a young, exciting team that maybe played a little bit over their head. In September, some of that weight on those rookies may have manifested itself because that lead started to dwindle.
And then next thing you know, the ball just kept rolling in the other direction from us.
Kimbrell ready, not running.
Infante, left field, get out of here, ball game!
And the Braves lead in the wild card has melted to 2.5 games.
As a Cardinal, by the time I got here in 2003, every year coming into spring training, our expectation was to win. So coming into 2011 was nothing different.
But we had a real bit of adversity early in our camp. When Adam Wainwright, he developed some elbow discomfort, turned out having surgery, and we lost him.
High throw, and Votto comes down on the...
Pujols had his worst season as a Cardinal.
It was a really difficult year for the team. But the most unusual one that I forget about most of the time is the shingles. I felt something in Arizona. I just thought I had some kind of discomfort.
He was a mess. I mean, he had things on his face, and I didn't realize how much pain that was caused. But I mean, there was points where he could not get out of his office.
The whole side of my face was all ugly colors and scabby looking, and kids start screaming and crying. Man, it was scary.
I know after that happened, everybody in the clubhouse was worried about shingles.
They're out of it. September 1st, no one thinks they have a shot.
We had a team meeting and spoke up, and we were just like, screw it, let's go out and take one day, play like we can play, we're a good team, and just see what happens.
There's a line drive to center field. It's deep enough to score the winning run for the Redbirds as the Cardinals win Game 1 with Atlanta.
So we won the series and we knocked 3 games off. Then we felt that we had a real shot.
For all intents and purposes, the playoffs have begun.
They've begun. They've already started.
Here we are in game number 162, and the Red Sox need a win.
So much at stake for the Tampa Bay Rays. If the Rays win and the Orioles beat the Red Sox, then the Rays are in as the wild card. If the Rays win and the Red Sox win, there's a one-game playoff tomorrow to see who is the wild card.
Red Sox and Rays, Braves and Cardinals. This is baseball history.
It's awesome.
Barry Francona says this is great for baseball, but it sure isn't good for my stomach.
My name is John Hamm, and I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan. Suffered through the indignities of the Cardinals in the 70s. And then in 1982, that team went to the World Series, and I never thought that would happen in my life, and got to go to Game 1 and Game 7.
To the plate, a swing and a miss, and that's the winner! That's the winner! A World Series winner for the Cardinals!
There's obviously more important life moments than your team winning something, because you won what? Your team won. But that's how we identify with it. It becomes very personal. It becomes very real.
Here it is. It could be all on the line for the St. Louis Cardinals as they take on the Astros here in Minute Maid Park, the final game of the 2011 season for Houston. It may or may not be for the Cardinals.
For the very first time, the last day of the year, we are actually tied with Atlanta.
I was hoping that they came down to me being able to get the ball and have a chance to dictate where we were going and what we were doing. I enjoyed that pressure. I enjoyed those situations.
I remember I was nervous. You know, you're at a position where your season's over or you get a chance to do some cool stuff.
The 1-2. Curveball's hit hard to left, and this is over the head of the left fielder Martinez. And John Jay will score. RBI base hit for Albert Pujols. 1-0 St. Louis. Curveball's hit hard to right. Another hit for Berkman, and it's 2-0 Cardinals. This one's deep to left. It's way back. And it's off the wall in deep left center field. Pujols scores. Berkman to third. A double for David Freese.
Cardinals come out firing 5 straight hits and 3 runs home.
I was at work. I remember sitting on the steps of my trailer away from my whole cast. I'm in character, I'm in costume, I'm in hair and makeup. My phone, I had it on the game day app because I remember watching a lot of games that way, which is torture because you're watching pitches come in like a little animated thing of a pitch and it's either a strike or a ball. It was hard to keep tabs, but I do remember thinking like, what's going to happen?
Schumacher running again, and a line drive base hit to left for Punto. And it's another Cardinal run, and it's 5-0. Wow.
We were sure if we could win, Atlanta would win.
Let's go to Atlanta now. Phillies and Braves, vitally important for the Braves to hang in there.
It's been a rough September for the Atlanta Ball Club. Can't worry about that tonight. You only worry about what you can do in a one-game must-win situation for Atlanta. Let's see. Hudson can have an easy time now with Utley.
We had a lot of respect for the Braves. A few guys I liked, a few guys I didn't. I remember that. I'd probably despise the Mets a little bit more.
I think Charlie Manuel would love nothing better than to try to knock Atlanta out.
If Charlie Manuel was in the Cardinals position and they needed the Braves to lose to get in the postseason, he would want the other team to play his guys and not just fold.
Inside, ball 4, and the Phillies have their first base runner.
He would want the other team to at least give their best, and we did.
Howard the opposite way. That's going to drop for a base hit. It's going to head to the corner, and Pence might head on home. He's already around third. Somwell's waving him home. Jack Wilson's throw cut off by Chipper Jones, and the Phillies take the early lead.
If the Atlanta Braves were to lose that game in Atlanta, then this could potentially be a celebration.
There are times throughout that game where you're looking over your shoulder, scoreboard watching. I mean, I think everybody was, right? We needed a lot of things to happen. So, we're looking around to make sure that we still had the chance.
The 2-2. Swung on and missed. Good curveball from Carpenter. 1-2-3 inning.
Cardinals putting pressure on the Braves. Both teams vying for the last NL playoff spot. Let's go back to the action in Atlanta.
Now Chipper bats with the tying run 90 feet away. They've scored 4 runs in their last 4 games and are 1 for their last 19 with a man at second base or third base. High fly ball toward left. There's the catch. Bourne tags. The throw to the plate is going to be way late. Boy, is that a sight for sore eyes. Get him on, get him over, and get him in. 1-1.
At that point in time, I was always scoreboard watching because every game meant something.
The greatest crash in the history of baseball. Is that going to be the story for Boston? Well, so far this month, it's a mess.
Here we are in game number 162, and the Red Sox need a win.
Somewhat tense around the ballpark this afternoon. Kind of felt that way in the Red Sox clubhouse. I think a little bit uptight about this ball game tonight.
If you're a baseball fan, this is really something. If you're the Red Sox manager or a Red Sox fan, it's not so good.
Nothing more Buck Showalter would like to do than beat the Red Sox tonight.
Nobody feels sorry for you in the big leagues. They had beat up on us like a stepchild. They had all the pieces. They were all there. And let's face it, we had no business competing with them. We fed off of David Goliath, the little engine that could. We had to. We had to figure out how are we going to do it.
From Baltimore, we go to St. Petersburg. The Yankees and the Rays, of course, the Red Sox and the Rays are tied up after 161 games. Young David Price is on the hill.
David Price is, David Price and was David Price then. And so we felt pretty confident going into the game. And then
Looper into center. That's going to drop for a base hit. Granderson is aboard, making the turn.
I approach that game the same as every other. Every time I step on that mound, I expect to pitch, really well and help our team win.
Swung on a ground ball to second, and it's followed by Zobrist. Granderson's going to try to score. The throw's cut off. And a line drive base hit in the left. 2 is ball 4, and the bases are going to be loaded. Jim Hickey's going to head to the mound to talk with David Price. Meanwhile,
Pedroia back up the middle into center field, a base hit. The ball is being waved around. No throw, and the Red Sox strike first on top 1-0.
Let's go to St. Petersburg right now. Again, bases are loaded for Mark Teixeira.
And another tough out, Mark Teixeira.
I felt like I threw well against Teixeira in my career.
3-2, there's a shot hit deep into left center field. That ball's got some carry, and it's gone. And Teixeira hits a grand slam. And the Yankees get 4 with one swing of the bat from Teixeira.
what? Damn, all right, what's Boston doing? And then Boston was winning. So I was like, man, we got our work cut out for us,
What I remember about the last day of the 2011 season was that there were all of these crazy things that had to happen, and they all had to happen at once. If they lose and they win and they lose, then this, and there was so much time during that day where everything was in the air.
Cole Hamels, first career relief appearance. The Braves are getting base runners aplenty in the early innings, but they've only scored once. Let's see if Uggla can pick up Prado. 2 outs.
You talked about somebody that I really struggled against was Cole. I mean, I think there's about a 3-year stretch to where I didn't get a hit off of him. Seriously.
High fly ball belted left. Track. Ball. Gone.
For me to hit a homer in that situation just was like, holy crap, that just happened.
A 2-run homer, and the Braves have their first lead of the night. It's 3-1 Atlanta after 3.
The Braves doing their best to avoid an epic collapse and sneak into the playoffs. Let's go to Houston and see what the Cardinals are doing.
There's a ground ball base hit for Carpenter. Very hitterish.
Like I said, you got to get some offensive production out of Carpenter.
And everything stays as is. The Cardinals will play the Braves tomorrow. And how exciting will that game be in St. Louis?
Like I said,
6-0 Cardinals beating up on the Astros and leaving very little doubt that at the very least they'll be playing tomorrow.
Well, unless the Philadelphia Phillies have a rally in them.
Baltimore's Red Sox looking to avoid the worst September collapse in baseball history.
Now, the Red Sox have not named a starter for the play-in game tomorrow if one is needed. Terry Francona said they have about 8 different scenarios depending on what happens tonight if it comes to that.
Heidi in the air, left field, that ball is way back. Goodbye, home run, the Orioles lead it 2-1.
It's amazing we've got so many games that mean something in game 162 of the season. Both in the American League and the National League.
Back to St. Petersburg, Yankees and Rays.
Now with the Rays down by 5, Teixeira hits a long one, deep to left, and Jennings will watch it sail out. Teixeira on a 1-0 pitch hits a fastball out of here. A grand slam in the second, and a solo shot in the fourth, and that makes it 6-0.
One hit by the Rays. One hit. You're not going to win getting one hit. They have their eyes right now on the Orioles. Please, Baltimore.
One down in the 5th for Dustin Pedroia. Here's a drive to left for Pedroia. Reimel going back, and that is out of the yard. Dustin Pedroia willing his way to the postseason as the Red Sox take a 3-2 lead.
Al Pedroia again gets one of those high fastballs and has a home run swing on it. This time he makes contact and takes it out of the ballpark.
I felt that we were going to stumble into the playoffs, but that we were definitely going to make it.
Welcome back to Camden Yards in Baltimore. 3-2. Red Sox on top of the Orioles, and as you can see, they are pulling out the tarp here at Camden Yards. The thunder showers were expected throughout the night, and here they are. The last thing the Red Sox really want right now.
And the Red Sox all go into their clubhouse, and they're watching and listening to Greg Amsinger on MLB Tonight saying,
if you're a fan of the Red Sox, do me a favor. Next time you see a fan of the Yankees, just give them a hug. Say thank you. I think that's in order after this. 7-0?
Everything just spews out of me. Verbal diarrhea is always my best stuff.
Of course, keeping an eye on that situation there in Tampa. You know, they are desperate, so they could rally at any point. I'm joined now by Dan Shaughnessy from the Boston Globe.
I hate sweating on television, and I knew this potential for a, Albert Brooks and broadcast news here, just the flop sweats and all.
What do you think the odds are that the Rays rally in this game?
I think the Rays are not going to win tonight. I think that the one thing that we have eliminated tonight is the Red Sox season is not going to end tonight. They live to play another day.
And I'm just dismissing the whole thing. I mean, Heidi, they are in. They're in. Don't even discuss them not being in.
The worst thing that could happen, you'd have to play that game in Tampa tomorrow. You got to hold on to this 3-2 lead tonight. But the Rays aren't going to come back from 7-0 with 2 innings and a half to go.
On we go from Tropicana Field. We head into the bottom of the 8th. New York took control early, and they have maintained that control. Boone Logan, the latest New York pitcher.
I felt we were in a good spot. I felt I did what was right for the game of baseball. So I took a lot of my guys out.
7-0 Yankees. Derek Jeter, a spectator for the rest of the game.
It was not a game that we had to have.
The Yankees, they have that right. Their managers should be preparing their team for the playoffs. And whatever that means to the teams that they're playing, hang with them. Play better.
David with a little looper, and that ball is going to fall for a base hit. Zobrist. He lines one into left, and that one falls in. David's going to hustle over to third, and Zobrist winds up at second base with a stand-up double.
The most important part for us was setting up our relievers and our starters to be in a great spot going into the playoffs. We had a 7-0 lead.
They've been waiting for something to cheer about, making some noise now. And there's ball 4. So the Rays going to run as Damon crosses the plate on the bases loaded walk.
At that point, everybody, when you got to the plate, you were just trying to get the next guy up to the plate.
The 1-2 pitch, and he's hit. That's going to force home a run.
We go into the rain delay, and I think Theo and Ben Sherrington were in my office. It's a little office in Baltimore. And the game's on, and Tampa's kind of creeping back. And I'm like, don't relax, they're okay. Relax, they're okay. And
Evan Longoria will bat. It would be fun, just for fun, if he hit a long one.
I guess I just felt, let me just try and get aggressive and attack this fastball early.
And there it is! Ball drive! Deep to left! Gone! Longoria hits a long one!
little by little, they weren't being okay.
A three-run shot! And now it's a one-run ball game! And the Rays are right back! 7-6 ball game! How about that, folks?
It went from, oh my gosh, this insurmountable lead, there's no way we can catch up, to all of a sudden, here we are. We're one run down.
Oh my. So, what's going on in Baltimore? Look at all the fans in the concourse. They're not leaving this.
Well, that's the Red Sox nation.
Oh, yeah.
Undercover, and they're ready. They want to finish this thing.
It's Kimbrel time, folks. He'll try to protect a 3-2 Atlanta lead and a chance to play on tomorrow.
3 outs to get. He has not pitched in 5 days. But for the year, he's got good numbers against the Phillies. 5 for 5 in saves, 7 innings, only 1 unearned run.
I was completely confident with Kimbrel coming in. I was like, all right, we're going to lock this thing down.
Line drive, Polanco into right field, a leadoff single. What was the word you used about the Phillies? Relentless. They're not going to make it easy for you.
And then all of a sudden he gets a hit. It's like, man, I can't let him get the second.
But what kind of pitch are they going to throw? Best pitch of the fastball. He's throwing at 98.
Baltimore, and the bases are loaded.
I just definitely see Kimbrel kind of.
Kimbrel's given up a single and 2 walks with 1 out in the 9th. And now you've got to face Utley with the bases loaded, 1 out.
Kimbrel was tough. He was young and just kind of up and coming at that time. And, I mean, he threw extremely hard.
Chase is the last guy you want up in that situation with a guy on third.
Fly ball toward left. That's going to be deep enough. Or tags. He's going to come home and score. It's a 3-3 game here in the 9th.
Look at the fans in Atlanta. They're in shock. So we'll keep you posted. Back to Houston. Cardinals up big. The latest from Minute Maid Park.
The 1-2 from Carpenter. Ground ball back to Chris. He's got it. He flips to first, and the Cardinals have picked up a big win here in Houston. A shutout for Chris Carpenter, 11 strikeouts on the night.
The Cardinals know that they've done their part to win this ball game. Now it's up to Atlanta.
We won our game. We did our work. We were waiting on somebody else. We were not in control of our own destiny, as they say. That whole day we were shooting, and everybody was on their phones trying to find the scores. And John Slattery, who plays Roger Sterling, who's a good friend of mine, is a Boston guy, and Slattery's thinking he's got this made.
So while we have suspense in Atlanta, we've got a live cam shot from Camden Yards. Man, the tarp is on, and the rain looks like it's eased up a bit, but it was coming down immensely.
They had a rain delay in Baltimore. And now, all of a sudden, the Tampa game is lined up perfectly with the game in Baltimore. And the Red Sox had to watch that game. It put so much more pressure on them.
To St. Pete, this is where everyone should be watching. Corey Wade is in the game to close things out for the Yankees, not Mariano Rivera.
On to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Yankees lead the Rays 7-6.
Corey Wade has never had a save in the major leagues.
The bigger story in that moment was that Mariano Rivera didn't close the game. No disrespect to Corey Wade, nobody is Mariano Rivera.
If it's a game that you have to have, I probably use Mariano Rivera, but it was not a game that we had to have.
I mean, they're running out of time. They know that the Red Sox are leading the Orioles, and everything's up in the air. It's all going to be decided tonight.
We're down by 1. Joe came over to me and said, hey, listen, you're going to be bat 5th next inning, so go get loose. So I went up into the cage, and I'm stretching, kind of getting loose, watching the game on TV,
It was a school night. At the time, we had a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I was pregnant with our 3rd child. I mean, we really kind of were expecting him to come home that next day.
Major league record for pitchers in a 9-inning game is 10, and the Yankees have matched that. Fly ball center field. It's Brett Gardner who's in the game here in the 9th. 1 out.
The kids were eating, and I took him upstairs and gave him a bath and put him in bed.
2-2, a little tapper toward third. Chavez up with it, throw to first is in time. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 9th for the Rays.
All of a sudden, this security guy is standing at the door saying, "Hey, you're up." And I was looking at him, I was like, "No, it's Sam Folds up. I got 2 more batters, and then I'm up."
Sam Fold is due up, but they're calling him back.
And he's like, "Hey, you're up now." And I was like, "Oh, me? Are we sure?"
And I hear the announcer say Dan's name, and I sit up, and I'm like, what?
But Dan Johnson emerges from the dugout.
Dan Johnson is coming up for one reason, and one reason only. Hit the ball out of the ballpark.
All of a sudden, it was just like, whoa, here we go. This is it. Season's on the line.
Well, ironically, Corey Wade and Dan Johnson were teammates in Durham. Wade in camp this spring with the Rays.
He was a great teammate. Just watching him day in, day out pitch, I mean, he was nasty. Listen, I watched this guy strike out a ton of guys and watch all these lefties have no success against him.
Johnson looks at strike 2. Slipped the fastball in there on him.
Honestly, I'm just hoping that he puts it in play. This is a heavy situation to come into and potentially either continue the season or end the season.
2 outs. Rays down to their final out.
I remember feeling like oddly confident with him walking up to the plate, and then with 2 strikes, it totally dissipated and felt resigned to the fact that we were going to lose that game.
Wade to the plate, down and in. That takes it to 2-2.
The only thing I could say is, like, I was going up there looking for a certain spot, looking for something in until I got to 2 strikes, and then that's when you get to the battle mode.
The 2-2 again. Johnson hits it down to right field line. That ball's going to be fair and gone. Dan Johnson does it again.
Oh my goodness! Incredible. The Rays were down 7-0 in the 8th inning.
He did it. He did it.
Dan Johnson.
The Red Sox have a 3-2 lead, and Jerry, you and I have just watched the Tampa Bay Rays come from behind. An amazing story tonight from Tropicana Field.
Just an incredible comeback by the Tampa Bay Rays.
I always felt like if we could just keep it close, let's see what the baseball gods have in store for us. And there's a lot of motion in the ballpark. There's an uneasiness I could feel because there were so many Red Sox fans there. It reminded me of the pain that they had inflicted on our organization, and rightfully so. We weren't very good.
Red Sox and Orioles tonight with an hour and 28-minute rain delay. Reynolds holding on Scudero at first base, and then Carl Crawford the batter.
Here's the 3-2, and a runner going, and that one is in the gap. And Raimel diving, cannot get it. Having to stop, though, is Scudero. Not sure he's coming home. Here's the relay throw, Hardy to Wieters. He is out! He's out!
We were just trying to find ways to win games, and it was becoming harder and harder.
Let's get back to Atlanta. The Braves must win to keep pace with the Cardinals, who have beaten the Astros and are watching it all right now on TV from their clubhouse. Chipper Jones at the plate with the winning run on third.
Another 3-2. left center field. And a great running catch by Martinez.
Every play was like we were playing for them. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, oh, no, oh. You know, there was all these reactions every time something happened.
And a ground ball through the right side by Utley. Schneider lost track of the baseball. Actually stopped between second and third, but scrambles in safely, and he's 90 feet away.
Brian Schneider was on third, who cannot run a lick. So we need the ball to like touch the outfield grass for Schneider to score. Sorry, Brian.
Benz breaks his bat, loops it over the head of Freeman. Uggla's got it, and the Phillies take the lead. Utley goes to third. It's an RBI for Hunter Pence.
He just cue balls one in no man's land.
The Phillies lead in Atlanta now. Are you kidding me? If the Braves lose, their season is over, and the Cardinals are going to the playoffs, folks. Freddie Freeman at the plate now with a tying run on base.
Tampa Bay was down to their last strike in the ninth and got a homer to tie it. They're still playing. And the Braves come up with a big hit in the 13th. To first. One to Rollins. Throw to first. And the Philadelphia Phillies have ended the Braves season.
You guys went nuts.
Beer and like out of control, crazy. It's just a total eruption. Nobody was having a bad day that day in St. Louis. There's so much energy, and you kind of can't believe it.
The Rays and Yankees are tied at 7 in extra innings. The Red Sox are clinging to a 1-run lead in Baltimore. Will the Boston Red Sox be celebrating their clubhouse tonight?
Bottom of the ninth inning, 3-2. Red Sox on top of the Orioles, and Jonathan Papelbon in, trying to finish it off here for the Red Sox in game number 162 on the season.
The bigger the atmosphere, the better I was. You know, I was just like, all right, let's rock and roll.
Reynolds strikes out, and there's 2 down in the ninth.
I love to show up every day, going into somebody's city, kicking their butt with a bunch of dudes.
2 down in the ninth inning as Chris Davis is coming up.
I just remember him, young Chris Davis, like just free swinger kind of, man.
Hook to right. This will get in. It heads to the corner. Drew over to play it. Davis is thinking too. The throw from Drew. Cut off and thrown to second late and thrown away. But Aviles backs it up. The Orioles are still alive.
As soon as Chris hit the ball down the corner, there was a kind of a soft murmur around the ballpark like, what's going on here?
Nolan Reimold coming up here for the Orioles. He's 1 for 6 against Papelbon in his career.
If he can get the barrel to the ball, he's got a chance to travel.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Orioles down to their last strike.
You tried not to get on the edge of your seat and like get excited. It's like, okay, slow down, just, you know, because you don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse.
Papelbon's delivery. Reimold in the air, right center field. Nobody's going to catch it. That'll go up and over. The Orioles done it. They have tied this game up. Nolan Reimold, 2 down. Behind in the count. 9th inning. It's 3-3. Nolan Reimold at second base represents the winning run. Robert Andino 0 for 4 in the game from the top spot in the Orioles order.
And if you look at his batting gloves and how he's twitching and whatever, Robert's in his element.
Here's the 1-1 delivery. That is into right field, and now it's trapped. The Orioles coming to the plate. Reimold, they did it. The Orioles have beat the Red Sox. 2 runs, bottom of the 9th inning. And now they must wait and see what happens at Tropicana Field in St. Pete.
Write down the date, September 28th, and remember it. Remember where you were. It's now September 29th here on the East Coast. It's after midnight. The greatest day of baseball in my lifetime. The players of the Rays were pointing at the scoreboard. Did you see that? And even they are cheering.
Heck yeah, they're cheering.
Wow.
This is incredible.
This is a moment where, like, you can't help but be excited.
Two, and a line shot down the left field line. That ball is gone, and the Rays win it. A line drive home run by Evan Longoria, and the Rays storm the field. It's an 8-7 final on Longoria's second home run of the night, and moments after, Baltimore comes back to beat the Red Sox.
Dan Plesat is freaking out. Are you kidding me? Harold runs away, and then he jumps like a kid. Harold runs away, but he comes back. He says, shucks.
I remember looking at Harold and going, are you kidding me? Holy.
This was the best baseball night ever. It was teams overcoming insurmountable deficits, and it was teams blowing huge leads. This night was everything we love about sports.
Carpenter strikes out his 11th batter tonight.
Driven deep to right field. It's time.
Trust me, everything in my soul wanted to win that game. And I did everything I could to do it.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Got him on a low fastball down and away.
It's amazing how 1 minute, basically, can change the fortunes or misfortunes of so many people.
But that day, man, to be a part of it is pretty cool. Do I wish I was on the better end of the stick? Hell yeah.
So deep to left field, it is a home run! A home run!
Most joy I've experienced on a baseball field, probably ever.
One of the most unbelievable finishes you will ever see.
What's beautiful about our game is what happens when it gets off script. And we were way off script there.
Here was this night where all of these different things had to happen for it to turn into this crazy night, and they all did.
Freeze hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night. Back is Craig. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.